I tried quitting porn hundreds of times and failed every single time until I discovered this one mindset shift that changed everything for me. If you are stuck in the same cycle, this changes everything. I couldn't quit porn no matter how hard I tried. I felt shameful, I felt guilty, and I relapsed over and over again. But when I learned this one thing, everything changed. If you are struggling like I was, watch this video because this is the missing piece. Bro, I remember back in 2022, like November, December of 2022 and January 2023 winter, I tried quitting porn so many times. But every time I tried, I failed. I couldn't go past even 3 days. I couldn't maintain a state. In the third day, I always used to fail. I used to relapse one, two, even three times. Someday even four times. And I used to feel so shameful, so guilty for doing that. I used to feel like a failure, a loser who will never beat this addiction. And the lockdown of that time made it even worse because the lockdown gave me this bad habit of content consumption. I wasn't creating any content or producing anything. I was only consuming garbage entertainment content on YouTube. And there is a rule called garbage in and garbage out. So if you put garbage in your brain, you're going to spit out garbage. And that is exactly what was happening to me. I was watching dumb entertainment content from YouTube, which was making me feel bored. And the more I felt bored and I felt guilty and anxious about wasting time, the more I fell toward the addiction of vaping. Because this is a cycle. You get bored by watching brain numbing content that are brain rot, that are garbage, and then that causes you to feel bored, to feel anxious about wasting your time, which leads you to watching even more garbage, and then it ends up leading you toward porn. It is a destructive loop of addiction. As if this wasn't bad enough, I was also consuming a lot of anime and music at that time, which, as you can imagine, has a lot of suggestive content, a lot of nudity, and a lot of suggestion toward the addiction, toward watching porn. It's like a lot of music video in the mainstream industry and in the pop culture is literally just talking about nudity. What do you think listening to this kind of music would lead you to? Obviously, watching more suggestive and bad content on the internet, which will eventually lead you to vaping, which was exactly what was happening to me. And the problem was, I was also addicted to anime, music, and YouTube entertainment content. No matter how hard I tried, I used to keep going back whenever I feel bored to these contents, and this content will feed me back to the urges, and they will take me toward watching even more horrible content on the internet and lead me to porn. That is what I was talking about, the horrible content on the porn. Because entertainment in general is bad, but it's not as bad as the porn addiction. But the problem is that these time wasters gives you urges and craving toward watching porn or toward fapping. They will eventually lead you there because they create cravings in you, they create urges in you of watching that content. Also, they make you feel bored and anxious about wasting your time, which also leads to you watching that content. It's a very horrible, destructive loop of addiction. I used to tell myself that this is the last time. Every time I relapsed, I used to tell myself that this is the last time and I'm not going to do this again. But every time I told myself, I used to relapse. I used to relapse, tell myself I'll quit, and then go back to the addiction again and again and again. I felt so guilty. I felt so shameful. And then I also felt like I felt like weak. I'm mentally weak and physically weak, and I can resist this addiction. I cannot quit the addiction no matter how hard I tried. I became extremely anxious and depressed because of this addiction. I felt shameful and used to tell myself, why would you do that again? Why again? But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't find the answer and I couldn't stop relapsing. I couldn't stop the craving and urges to take me back toward the addiction. It was horrible, and it was so depressing and so anxious. I can't even explain to you how bad I felt unless you are going through this addiction as well. If you are going through this addiction, you also realize how hard it feels. You don't even like to relapse, but the urges hit and you relapse and you feel guilty, shameful, out of self control, like you have no discipline. You shout at yourself, why do I not have enough discipline to stop this? But no matter how much willpower, discipline, and how much self control you try to have, you still keep going back to relapsing. And it feels really, really guilty. It feels really shameful. And it is correct, it is a shameful addiction. It is a very horrible addiction to have. It is really bad. But you try to quit again and again and again, and you keep relapsing. You keep going back. No matter how hard you tried, no matter how much you told yourself, I will quit now. And that is exactly what was I feeling and what I was going through at that time. To be honest with you, this addiction is made in a way to keep you psychologically trapped, psychologically hooked. And they use your loneliness and other addiction against you, especially your loneliness. And at the lockdown time, we were really, really lonely, stuck in our room. And these people, these evil people who run this corporation, were using our loneliness against us. They were feeding us into more and more addiction. They were making us weak, intentionally making us weak. It's a strategy put in place to make us even more weak than we are now. Well, after this, I realized something that changed my mind on addiction forever. I realized that porn in and of itself isn't the problem. I mean, it is a problem, it is a psychological trap, but it is that your brain uses porn as a escape from loneliness, boredom, and stress. Your brain has learned that going to porn will give you a lot of pleasure, which will take you away from stress, loneliness, and boredom. But that is the real problem. Instead of fighting the problem like boredom, loneliness, and stress, you escape them. Instead of solving the problem of why you are lonely, why you are bored, why you are so stressed, why are you in anxious in life, what you are missing in life, what are the problems that you can solve that can give you a better life, that can improve you, grow you, what can you do right now that will give you the result that you want in future, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 2 years from now. What are the tasks that you can do today that will give you the result that you want tomorrow in the long term frame, in the short term and in the long term, and more importantly in the long term. But instead of doing this action, you waste your time going back to this addiction. You escape to the addiction. You let the addiction consume your brain, thought process, and drain your power, brain power, drain your dopamine that you need to work on the thing that you need to work on so that you can achieve those things in future, achieve those goals of your life in future. If you are not going to focus on the problem that you need to solve right now, instead you escape to porn addiction, video game addiction, or and all other form of addiction, YouTube garbage entertainment, videos, brain rots, anime, music, etc. How are you going to solve your problem? Music is especially a big problem because people don't understand how music impacts them. When you listen to music, you daydream that you are achieving that success, and your brain get confused and thinks that you have already achieved the success instead of focusing on doing the task you need to do to be successful. Music makes you wonder and daydream, which makes you feel like you have already achieved the goal, you have achieved the success, which is not true, which is absolutely false, and you know that. You haven't built the success, but you feel like you have, which makes it even more harder for you to break the cycle of addiction because your brain doesn't see the reason for you to work hard or what you need to work hard because music has made it feel like that you are already successful. You have already achieved what you wanted to achieve. but it doesn't realize that you are only daydreaming them in your brain, in your mind, and you have not achieved anything in real life. You understand, right? You have to understand, my friend, brother. You have to understand this. Music, anime, and YouTube garbage videos, entertainment videos that are not helping you achieve anything in goal. It's just a waste of time. You're not even learning a new language. You are not doing anything productive. You're just wasting your time. But that the brain power that you are losing is also affecting your success of future, because you are losing the inherent capability to work toward your future, because all this anime, music, YouTube videos, porn, all of this in combined is wasting your potential, your brain power, your focus that you need to spend on your craft, on your goals that you are working on, whether it's content creation or it's a study, whatever it is, whatever it might be entrepreneurial goals, business goals, whatever it is, you are wasting your attention and focus on this thing, and they are sapping your energy away. They are literally sucking your energy into the void, which is stopping you from doing the work that you need to do to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. If you are not going to focus on the goals, on the what you have to do right now to achieve what you want in future, where are you going to use your discipline, where are you going to put your mental strength, willpower? Focus is the first thing, and that's where your brain is getting hijacked. It is focusing on entertainment right now. It is not focusing on the work that you actually need to do to achieve what you want to achieve in your life. You understand, brother, right? I hope you understand what I'm trying to tell you, my friend, because it is very, very important. It is very important for you to understand, which I wish I could tell my younger self. Go to a time machine and tell him that stop wasting your time on video games, YouTube videos, and do the work that needs to be done so that your life can change in future. If you don't do what needs to be done and tell yourself that I'm trying to do something, but you actually don't do the actual work that needs to be done, you are not going to be successful in future. That is simple. It's just cause and effect. You strategize, plan, but the most important thing is that you do the work. And if you do the work and have the tangible output, then that is going to give you what you want in future. Your results are going to come from your output. And if you don't have tangible output, actual work that has been done that can give you the leverage in future, if you're not going to do that, then you're not going to be successful. It is as easy as that. If you want to be successful, you have to do the work now, no matter what you feel, no matter how you feel. You have to do the work that is going to give you the success that you want. Now let's talk about the issue of the dopamine baseline. What is dopamine and what is the dopamine baseline? And how does it relate to motivation and success? Because there is a very important correlation between the amount of dopamine you have in your system and how motivated you feel to achieve your goals. So let me tell you something. Your dopamine is not evil or bad for you. It is actually very, very important for your success. Not having enough dopamine in your system is actually bad for you. But how you spend that dopamine is what matters the most. How you how you exhaust your dopamine level is what matters the most. Not that the having dopamine is bad in and of itself, but where you are putting your dopamine, where you are exhausting it. That's what matters the most, my friend. Now let me tell you what dopamine baseline is. Dopamine baseline means that you have a set of dopamine level for most majority of your day. You have a set baseline of dopamine. And what happens when you get aroused by something, like you crave or have urges for watching porn and stuff like that, or any addiction, is your dopamine level spikes up high when you are have the urge or when you have the craving, not while you are doing the action or doing the deed, but when you crave it, it goes up really high and then it falls down. But what happens is it, instead of falling down toward your baseline, it falls down below your baseline after you have done the deed, because what dopamine was doing is motivating you to watch the content, and you have watched it, and then your dopamine level falls below the baseline. And then if you keep watching addictive content, the dopamine keeps going up and below the baseline until your baseline gets lower. So the level of dopamine you have for the rest of your day gets lower and lower and lower. The lower the baseline falls, the less motivated you get. The higher the level of baseline dopamine you have, the higher you feel motivated. But the lower it falls, the lower your motivation level goes. What do you think happens when your dopamine baseline falls so low that you don't even feel motivated and the enjoyment of doing daily work, daily action that you need to take to achieve your goals in life, whatever goals that may be? What do you think happens? It is simple. Dopamine equals to motivation, and if you deplete your dopamine level and your baseline level falls so low, you are not going to feel motivated to do the work that you need to do to achieve the goal you want to achieve. Right? The science is simple. If you have low level of dopamine and you are addicted to so many things, which takes your baseline so low level that now you don't even find the basic enjoyment of doing the simple everyday task like reading a book, like doing the bare minimum of the work that you need to do, to writing a script for a video you have to record, or a cold call that you have to do to convince a person to buy your product that you sell or agency services. This is what happens when the dopamine level decreases to so low level that your baseline level falls so short. So now what you have to do? What do you have to do to bring the baseline up? Well, it's simple. The solution is very simple. You just have to quit all of the addictive things, all of them, including social media, porn, addiction, all of your addiction, garbage entertainment content on YouTube, anime, music, etc. for 30 days. You have to go on a 30-day dopamine fast. Somebody call it dopamine detox. I used to call it dopamine detox back in 2023 when I did the dopamine fast. But the accurate scientific term as a medical student we should be using is dopamine fast, because you take break from all the extremely high dopamine activities, and that brings you dopamine baseline back to normal level, from lower level to normal level, where you feel the real enjoyment of real life task again. This is what I did in back in 2023. I first went on a 7-day dopamine detox, which was already really good for me. But 7 days isn't well optimized for like the long-term effect of the dopamine baseline, because to fix it properly you have to go on a 30-day fast, which is what I did. I think it was like September of 2023 when I went on a 30-day dopamine fast, and in August, I think, I'm not 100% sure, I think on August I went on a 7-day fast, and it did so many good benefit for me. It had so many good benefits. First of all, it will set your dopamine to a normal level first. Second, you will feel the enjoyment of your everyday task, and it will make you mentally and physically stronger toward urges. So this is why you should do 30-day dopamine fast, because it brings back your energy, focus, and motivation to do the work. Because motivation is directly correlated to how much dopamine you have in your system. So if you bring back your dopamine baseline level to back to high or normal level, then you can experience that high of reading books, working on projects, learning new stuff, the enjoyment that comes from this thing, that will come back to you, and you will have a easier time fighting this addiction and beating this addiction than if you didn't do this before. Click the link below to get access to my step-by-step system to beat porn addiction. Click here to watch next. Click now, click. Click here to watch the next video.